I listened to your course on boundaries.me, emotional tone, and I
Yeah.
realized that maybe I may have emotional tone toward others, but I realize that this is something I've been suffering from for quite some time, how
Mm.
I interpret
How it
or how I
feels to you?
receive emotional tone from others.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I'm working on healing, but originally it would set me back 2 days, 3 days where I would be
Wow.
just sad and crying. Now, thankfully, I can analyze it and talk myself through it, and it can take me down for half a day.
Hey,
So
we're
I
gaining
didn't
on it. We're
realize.
gaining on it,
I
Wendy.
know.
Way to go.
I'm
So,
trying. I'm
before you
trying.
go, before you go on, I want you to, just for the audience sake here, you got from, if some, and what she means by emotional tone is I talk about how, in this course on boundaries like me, basically our whole system is wired to do a lot of good things if we sense a tone as being for us and loving and kind and accepting. I mean, everything just works better, including your brain. If we experience somebody's tone as being harsh or angry or toxic or guiltifying or something like that, then everything ceases to work, as well as it can tap into unnice tones inside your own head, which then turn around and shoot bullets at your heart, and you go down a black hole. Okay, right, Wendy? Right. So
Right,
you
exactly.
you've done some things, and I want you to do this fast because I want to get to your question. But you've done some things that have gotten you way past where you were in your vulnerability to tone deficits, right? So how did you do
Yes,
it? What did you do? Tell the audience. I want them to do this.
I prayed. And my first husband passed away 15 years ago, who was
Hmm.
a narcissist and verbally abusive. So I prayed for a man that would meet qualifications that I needed in my life that God would use to bring healing to my heart.
Hmm.
And even though I told him I didn't believe it because all men are liars, like David said, but I said, God, if you know there's such a person that can help me, then send him. And I met a wonderful man. And he has been the opposite of my first husband. And he has allowed me to
Hmm.
kind of work through these things,
So
anger,
relationship,
crying,
a loving
relationship.
relationship entered into the
Yeah.
picture, right? And it
Yeah.
sounds
And
like you took the
praying.
step of making yourself vulnerable in that loving relationship, both with him and with God.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I didn't want to stay there anymore. I was done.
good for you.
I'm
Good for
tired of
you.
I'm tired of
And
feeling that way.
that's right. And I'm gonna add something to this, and we're gonna go into great depth on this in the anxiety event on December 9th. And I want everybody to come join us for that. You can sign up at boundaries.me. But there's also an internal, and where a lot of anxiety and hurt, as you're experiencing, a lot of that comes from is that you have a system inside of you that gets activated that is kind of a compilation of pretty much all of your past experiences. And so if you've had past experiences when you were growing up or in adult life or with people or even trauma, those get locked into the emotional part of the brain, right? It's called the hippocampus,
Right.
and they're just really stored there. Then something comes along, somebody says something harsh to you. Well, that button gets pushed. It's called a trigger, but that button gets pushed in that network of memories. Might not have anything to do with anything. These memory networks look like spider webs, but it gets pushed, and then that original feeling that you had when you got shamed in front of the class or when an alcoholic angry father was yelling at you or whatever, that whole system of emotional reactions to that and feelings and devastation, that just comes up, right? And it's automatic.
So true.
That's the and
So
that's how you
true.
feel, right, Wendy? And so what you've learned to do,
Absolutely.
you've gotten some space on that, and now you're observing it. As you said, you got some insight on it. And I'm just going to say, way to go, girl. You are getting there, and I've
Thank
got great
you.
confidence on this last piece of it. So tell me your question.
how do I not allow others to step on my heart? It happens more at work because I work in a corporate environment, and you have people that are climbing the ladder or think they're something or think they're somebody, and micromanagers and, people that just almost like you can almost sense that they're just blowing themselves up and puffing themselves up. And
Yeah.
the things they say and how they just give direction makes,
Yeah.
I'll walk away feeling really small and angry. And I'm screaming at my computer, like, how can you talk to me like that? And I'm not stupid. I'm not a child. I'm smart.
That's right. That's right. You're not stupid. You're not small. You're not child. You're smart. So my
Right.
hunch is this person at the office that's not the first time you've ever felt that, right? And
Right.
there were some significant relationships probably in your formative years that were this one up and one down kind of dynamic, right?
Right. Right.
And I would ask, has there been enough work done on processing those relationships and getting them out there with there's four important things here: naming the person, making it objective so it's not global. So that was dad, that was mom, that's mom's voice, or that's sister or brother or grandmother or Uncle Harry or whatever, or that's when I was bullied or whatever. You name it to make it objective. Number two, you name and process both the dynamics but the feelings of it. And so it's your brain is it's like a drain in a way, and it gets clogged up with this crap. And so the way, God designed the systems to get it out through tears, basically. And so there's the
Mm.
processing of that pain. Now, here's what's interesting about feelings is some people, those feeling states last forever. This is a paradox because they're never processed. And once you start to process them, okay, a feeling is only supposed to last, like, I forget what the research says. I'm going to say about 90 seconds before
Oh,
it's before it's named and talked about, because it's a signal, and then it's named and it's talked about, and then it gets put into understanding. Now that might go through several cycles, but sometimes when things aren't named and understood, it's not 90 seconds, it's 90 years. And it can
right.
just live there as
Yes.
trauma. So I would
Yes.
want you to do a little more work on that. And the second thing, more practical. I mean, that's something you got to do for healing, but this is going to help you, I think, on the practical side. So, um, you know, pretty much every day we take our dog for a couple of walks, right?
Right.
There's we go by a bunch of yards. There's one yard we go by where the lady has three golden retrievers that just love Finley, our dog. And she goes up to that fence and she sticks her head over it, and they start kissing each other. And the lady comes out, says, "Come on in." And we go into the yard, and the dogs have a play date, and they just go crazy and have the best time. There's another yard you can walk by where there's a big, ugly, mean dog in there. All right. As we approach that fence, we're not open to going in. We're saying, "Oh, here comes the mean dog." I don't want Finley to even have that experience because I want her to feel good about other dogs. And so we minimize the interaction. We might walk around it. We might go down the other side of the street, or we might walk fast, or we might distract her, or whatever. But we don't treat every dog the same internally. So I want you to actually sit down and write down on a sheet of paper, preferably with somebody that you trust. Write down, okay, this is Mary, this is Susie, this is Rhonda, this is Tiffany. She thinks she's better than everybody. She's critical. She's got a harsh tone. And name them, okay? And so
Okay.
then when you see them coming inside, You're not
Oh,
vulnerable at all, are you? You go, here comes the critical one.
okay.
And I would play a game. I'd
Yep.
say, I wonder how long it's going to be before she makes a statement that
That's
makes her look cool and everybody else look bad. It's almost like a drinking game.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
really good.
So you're getting in a
That's
different
really
mode.
good.
And then I want you
Yeah.
to observe it. And then I want you to observe it. And when it happens, say, oh, there it is again. My tendency here, my trigger would be to start feeling this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go get distracted or call a friend or this, that, and the other. Because there's no value in going down that trail. It's just an old memory replaying. And you want to
Yeah.
reduce, you also want to reduce the amounts of time. See, in your brain, the more you play a file, the stronger that file gets.
Mm.
So if it's not being healed. So if you say, I'm not going to click on that icon, it would almost be like if you had, let's say you had Google and you had Safari or Chrome and Safari, to Explorer and Safari. You got two different browsers on your computer. Well, the more you click on one of them, that one's going to automatically get stronger, and it's going to just open up. It's going to take over. Now, that actually is the way, is the way the tech companies do this to you. So this
Right.
isn't fantasy. They do control you the more you. But see, that's how your brain is. So when you let it go down that path, you're strengthening it. So I also want you, if you do get triggered, to talk about it and then get distracted and go down a different path and tell yourself all the right things. But there's a few tricks that you can do to ward this off.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I'm proud of
It's
you.
like by writing it. Yeah, well, thank you. So it's like by writing it down, I'm preparing myself and they don't catch me by surprise.
That's right. That's right. And you're also not
Thank
going to
you.
treat everybody the same. Sounds like you're a woman of faith,
Right.
right?
I am. I am.
All right,
Yes.
here's my
Thank you
Bible.
so
I'm
much.
gonna give you a Sunday school assignment. Ready?
All right. I'm
Go
ready.
to Psalm 101.
Okay.
In that psalm, David lists all the people in his corporate environment he ain't gonna even talk to. The proud, the arrogant, the faithless, the liars, the divisive ones. He just lists them. And then he says, these people over here, they're going to be the ones I hang out with. If you do
Okay.
that in your head, that's building an immune system to hurtful people. All right. Wendy, thank you
Okay. Thank you,
for your
sir.
call. I'm
Have a
sure
good
that's
day.
going to be, you too. I'm sure it's going to be very, very helpful to a lot of people. A lot of people. Hey, guys, I don't know if you've been outside lately, but not everybody's the same. Not everybody's like she said, all men are liars. That's not true. I mean, if it's in the way that chronic liars, I mean, is every human probably told a lie at some point? Yeah. Okay, so all men are liars. But there are trustworthy, honest people. And some people think all people are dishonest. You can't trust any of them. They have very small lives, people who think that. Other people make the opposite thing. They trust everybody. You know, they just see the good in everybody, believe the best, all this stuff that makes no sense. No sense at all. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Why? They've never done anything but hurt people. Why would I think this time's going to be any different? See, we have to be objective about evaluating people. That's why on boundaries.me, I have so much material on how to diagnose different characters in your life to know who do you trust and who you can't trust. Okay? It's important. So don't make the mistake of thinking that everyone's trustworthy or thinking that you can share and be vulnerable with everybody just because they may look like you can. Some people stab you in the back. One of my favorite verses is a warning about that. About people that flatter you, Proverbs says, actually hate you and they're going to get you. So if you got somebody that's always trying to make you feel good, and always flattering you, oh, you're so awesome, this, that, no, you better watch out because that other shoe is going to drop at some point. We want people that are honest with us, and they're honest with us for good intention and good motive because they care about us and they'll tell us hard things Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Appreciate that. Go to the dentist. Looks in there. She goes, "Ooh, this is not good." Well, what if they were a flatterer? "Oh, that's such a beautiful tooth. I'll see you in 6 months." No, somebody that loves us is going to tell us hard things because they're going to be part of fixing it. But somebody that won't tell you hard things, right? Out of love. In other words, people that if they don't love you enough to tell you the hard things, or people that only say hurtful things, you don't want either one of them. It's not who's going to help you.